This is the Stronghold Digital Mining daily update for Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. We're going to put up the slide, so let's go and put that up right now. As you'll notice, PJM Penelec and PJM PP&L pricing has been relatively subdued. I will say that in the past 24 hours, PJM Penelec has had some price spikes that have been quite interesting. But as of right now, the average for the past 24 hours is $26.89. And for PJM PP&L, $19.11. The real action is with regard to Bitcoin priced in dollars per megawatt hour. There we're at $107.70. That's a 24-hour average. I've seen numbers as high as I believe around like $114, $115. Phenomenal. Spot price of Bitcoin, past 24 hours, the average $30,120 with a network hash rate averaging 311. Excellent. Okay, back to me, please. So, operationally, these numbers look great, right? BTCMW is a really big variable for us. It's important that it be as high as possible. I want to turn to something that's perhaps not so positive, right? And that is our stock price. Now, our stock price, the last time I checked, it was over $4 a share. But this is a little bit deeper than whatever the stock price happens to be at the moment. I'm concerned that all of us, to some extent, maybe some of us more so than others, may find ourselves sometimes looking at that stock price and suddenly feeling as if though our our emotional disposition changes, maybe our sense of self-worth, is diminished. Maybe our sense of confidence in the future kind of gets pulled down a bit. It could even just be a distraction. I mean, you say, hey, I'm imagining myself, hey, I'm going to work, say at Stronghold, and it's like I check the stock during my lunch break, and I'm like, man, this kind of sucks. And it really kind of can be something that like really changes sort of one's disposition towards the business, one's own sense of like what the future holds. And it can, I think, have a corrosive effect on morale. And I think it's really important. This is, from my perspective, it's very important that our self-worth, not only as individuals, but as a company, not become too anchored to a stock price, which we have no control over. It's a lot like a popularity contest. And it can sometimes feel as if though we're being bullied by Wall Street. And day in and day out, that can have a corrosive effect. That's why I really make an effort to focus so much on our operational numbers, which, while it's true we have no control over some of our revenue inputs, right, like the price of Bitcoin or the network hash rate or grid prices, it's still something that we actually can exert some modicum of control over, in the sense that, hey, if Bitcoin economics are favorable, we can be doing everything in our power to make sure that we're capitalizing on those positive Bitcoin economics by making sure the data centers are running, right? And that the power plants are doing what they need to do. I think that's important, right? When I look at the dashboard, sometimes the last thing I'll look at, even if at all, is the stock price. And that's not to say that I've given up on the stock price. Quite the opposite. My focus is on operations, because if we're able to sustainably turn the corner operationally, the stock price, it might take, what would that phrase be? It's like in fits and starts. I think that eventually we're going to start to get some recognition for the very, very hard work that we're doing. We're clearly not getting any of that right now. And hang in there, all right? We're all in this collectively together. And right now I'm really thinking more so of those of you who, you're involved in the business, right? You're either somebody who's working in a managerial position, maybe you're somebody who's more on the operational side of things, maybe you're in the finance team. Whatever, actual like role you have at the company, I think it's critical that, how we are doing as a business, right? Somebody asks you, hey, how's that company that you work for? How's it doing? It's easy to sort of start thinking, hey, well, the stock price is kind of like not doing so well. So therefore, I guess we're not doing so well. And maybe I'm not doing so well. And man, maybe life kind of sucks, right? It can have that corrosive effect, which not only affects potentially our performance, right? In terms of like the job function that we're trying to do, but it could affect our ability to interact with our friends, our family. I mean, this is kind of like a big deal, right? Because like we're talking about our source of income for those of us who draw a paycheck from the company, right? This is kind of like a big deal. I also want to address something that I'm not sure how to really address this. I think it's sometimes easy for me, for any of us, right? We all can become frustrated. This is more like now for those of us who are in non-employee roles, right? We're not in management. We're not on a finance team or on a data center team or on a power plant team. And we're, merely just like shareholders, right? Co-owners of the business, but we're kind of like passengers in this journey. I think it can be, for some of us more than others, it can become a frustrating experience to feel as if though, well, we think the company should be doing this or they should be doing that. And I hear you. And I get that perspective. What I want to express right now, though, is, and I've said this before, but I think it merits being repeated again today, how important I think it is that at least I demonstrate a high degree of profound appreciation for what our executive team has done over the past year. We as a company wouldn't even be here anymore had it not been for the oftentimes unseen and unrecognized work of the finance team, right? Of our executive team, of our CEO, Greg, Matt in the CFO chair, to restructure the debt that had to be restructured. It's easy to kind of sometimes think, okay, well, we took care of it. All right, we're moving on from that. That could have been like a fatal experience for the company. Had we not gotten our arms around that the way that we did, it would have really been problematic. I think, from my perspective, we are incredibly blessed and fortunate. And this is something I think about every day, to have as capable of an executive team as we have. If anybody out there thinks things can be frustrating and bad now, what would we do if we suddenly didn't have a CEO or we didn't have a CFO? They just left the company. You know, so I think it's important that as to the extent that there's constructive criticism, yes, we're going to put together, right, some ideas as to, hey, maybe these are some things that could be done on a monthly basis to maybe better communicate, the achievements of the company, right, things like that. I think it's important that we couch everything in very constructive terms. I mean, I don't know how to emphasize this enough. We really, really need our executive leadership team. We are dependent on them to navigate this aircraft, so to speak, that we're on, and it's a job that is incredibly challenging, and that requires, from my perspective, an incredible amount of talent, an incredible amount of perseverance, and an incredible amount of intelligence, really, because there's so many things to deal with. And I think it's critical. It's really, really critical that everybody in executive management know that, at least from my perspective, I really appreciate you guys a lot, like a lot. And I hope that, sort of the ruckus of social media and, sort of gosh, it's almost like a mosh pit of different ideas and thoughts. I really, truly hope that that noise sometimes, right, doesn't become, something that is chips away at your desire to be a part of this enterprise. Because, listen, at the end of the day, we desperately need your leadership. And that's something that's, I don't know how else to say it. We desperately need your leadership. We need all of your skill. We need all of your intelligence, all of your talent. We need that. This company needs that. Everybody who works, right, rank and file members of this company, we all need this leadership. And I'm profoundly grateful for the leadership that's been demonstrated to have gotten us to where we are. Where at least, you know what I mean, we're kind of like in the hunt. We're still in the game. I don't know how else to say what I'm trying to say other than what I just said. So let's all of us collectively, let's all stay positive. Let's all be great. Let's all fucking lead this company to success and to victory. We can't control all of the input variables. I get that. But everything that we have the power to control and to influence, we're going to try to do that today, tomorrow, this week, this month, this year. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.